Hey everyone, it's Emily. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today we are talking about Cloudberries. I asked if they could send some things over. I said yes, this is not sponsored by them, and I did tell them I would give you an honest opinion about these puzzles. So that's what we're doing here today. The puzzles that I have here, we first have is Canvas. This is from their original line, and it is manufactured in the Netherlands, and it is with recycled cardboard, and it also, for every Cloudberries puzzle that is purchased, they do plant a tree. So those are some just generic things about the brand. They are from the UK. You can buy them here in the States from Puzzledly and another couple places, so I'll link them down below if you're curious about them. So again, this one is $25. Artwork, really fun. They did let me pick the ones that I wanted to do. This one here, I just love gradient anything, and I just like how there's just like different versions of color theory. I will say this one was so much fun to put together, so I'm excited to share this one with you. And then the second puzzle that they sent me is from their small batch line. This artist is called Asami Watanabe, and the puzzle's name is Cherries. Super bright, very colorful. The full image is on the back of the box, and this one does have some differences as far as what you get inside. So I want to share the differences with you, whether or not they are really worth the extra money, because this one is $38. So it's quite an expensive little puzzle. And this one is made in China versus this one being made in the Netherlands. Big differences just right off the bat is the box. This one is their traditional Cloudberries box. This one has a wrapped packaging, but they are the same size and they are from different manufacturers. So we're just going to discover this together, whether or not it's worth the investment or if this just both are good, and it really just depends on image. So that's what we're going to discuss here today. So let's go back in time. I'll show you them up close, compare the two, do these puzzles, and then we'll come back and just discuss my final thoughts. So here are the two boxes up close, just so you can see the differences. So Canvas is their original line, gray box. The image is on the front. Everything else is pretty simple, has just the branding, but nothing on the back. The Cherries one, which is from their small batch line, has a wrap design. So the box itself is super fun, very bright and colorful, and then the full image is on the back. So I feel like there's just so much more happening on this one. I've mentioned previously that this one is made in China, and this one is made in the Netherlands, which is right there. So I'm going to first do the new one based off of a poll I did on Instagram. So I'm going to do this one first, then go back and do Cherries, and we're just going to compare the quality and the experience. But let's first open this guy up and see what's different. So the box is super nice. Love the coloring. Has a little bit of shine to it, but that's all right. And then let's open up. And okay, so this one has a little bit of branding on the side, and then we do have all the pieces in a paper bag. We have, let's see, a little postcard, which is cute, and then a full-size poster. For me, I always prefer a smaller poster just because this is kind of giant and I don't want to have to move it around a ton. Yes, I could tape it to something to keep it up, but I just like to have something like propped up and really easy to use. So nice addition, but most likely I'm just going to use the back of the box just because for me on space it's just easier. But let's just look at the pieces. So far, they do impress me. Like the pieces look really beautiful. Now the thing I've had issues with in the past with Cloudberries is the fit, with having a lot of false fits, a lot of things in the wrong place, coloring not right. So far coloring is fine, but we'll see how the fit is. These pieces feel really nice. They don't have any type of shine to it. They do have a little bit of that linen-y texture, which for some people it's hit or miss. For me, I really enjoy having the linen-y texture. I feel like it just makes it a more luxe experience in my opinion. We're just gonna get into this. So far for sorting, I did the edge pieces over here. This is those green cherries that I was mentioning. This is a specific vase because it has like this brown and cream stripe pattern on it, so it's very easy to decipher. I also have a pretty noticeable stack of pieces that are still connected to their partner. And this is actually a lot less than it was because I was kind of pulling them apart as I was going. There's some that are really tacked on there where it's going to kind of damage probably the back of the piece, which is fine, and I can easily pull apart most of these, but it's just something to note because Depending on the cutting, you might have more issues than I did. As far as the coloring though, I'm pretty happy with it. So let's start off. I'm thinking I'm gonna start off with this random vase because I feel like that'll be pretty easy. And probably the cherry pieces. I feel like this one, even though it's super fun, I think it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. So I'm gonna move these pieces off the table and then we'll get started. Starting off with this puzzle, I did exactly what I said I was going to. I did the base, the edges, and that left corner, which is a very distinct green, and some cherries. And then I ended up doing the border. And while you watch me do the border, I just wanted to mention something that you might find interesting. So the song that you're listening to as the background is called Cherries on Top. I get a lot of comments about the music I use for my videos. I get it all from Epidemic Sound, which is a program I pay for the channel, and I always search for whatever the puzzle is for music. So this one is a puzzle about cherries, the music is about cherries. Later on you'll see one that is about color, and I believe the name of the song is called Color Wheel. So if ever you're curious about the music, that's how it happens. But as for the puzzle, I didn't have too much footage on it. I had just sorted out by color, so I did yellow, then orange, and then I did like the dark blue color, which was quite tricky because it was in a lot of different places, and then I just like went by there. So I really just sorted by color. I think eventually I did sort by piece shape once I got to like the peachy colors, but that's about it about this puzzle. Super fun. Love the color. I mean, can you believe that color on this puzzle? That's without like any type of filter over my camera. It was just beautiful and stunning. And I will say it was a bit trickier than I was expecting because there's a lot of distinct lines versus like a gradient or a shadow, but overall this was a beautiful puzzle and I really enjoyed it. Let's go into the original version of Cloudberries. So this is the canvas puzzle, 1,000 pieces. As I've already discussed, the box design, much simpler. We really don't have anything on the back. And we're just gonna open it up to see what the pieces are. There was cellophane on here, just to let you know. I did take that off just for filming purposes. And then we have a very large poster. For me, I much prefer a smaller poster just because of space purposes. Here are some of the pieces up close. This also has a linen-y texture. It has the slightest bit of a shine, not 100% matte compared to the other version. Pieces-wise, they seem similar in size. I have just a couple here from the Cherries puzzle, that we can have an idea of what the pieces look like side by side. So they are very similar, although this one has, I think, more of a matte finish, but they are pretty close. And then when you look at the puzzle pieces actually next to each other, the original Cloudberries is actually thicker than the Cherries one. Now they both feel great, but that is something to mention that I would have expected it to be the opposite way, where the more expensive one would have thicker pieces, but that's not the case. Now thicker pieces doesn't mean better quality, because I've had some issues in the past with some Cloudberries having some fit issues. So we'll see if that's still the case, or maybe I just got a dud in the past, but we're gonna dive into this and see how the puzzle goes. If I have any issues, I'll definitely call them out, but we're just gonna get into this. Moving into canvas, sorting this puzzle was really fun because I was pulling out areas that I could instantly put together. So there was a couple color wheels that I automatically knew what they were, and of course just gradient rainbow anything for me is a super fun time. So once I got those smaller pieces together, I went into that bright circular color wheel, which is the brighter colors. There was very distinct pastels and line work that was easy to decipher. When you're looking at the puzzle, it almost has like this hazy line for that area, so it was easy to see which puzzles were which. Also seeing that gradient on the left hand side was easy, and I think at this point is when I started sorting by color, just pulling out color. So I would do all the red sections, then I would do all the green sections, and that's how I ended up able to do it. went by incredibly fast. At this point, I had only been doing the puzzle for about 4 hours. Once the color pieces were done, I went through all the white pieces, pulled any white that had like even a sliver of color to use. I did the edges, which were actually really easy because the horizontal lines had different piece shapes than the vertical lines. And then I just filled in with the white pieces. And it was a lot of white. I had 2 trays of just 2s at the very beginning and then like a few random extra pieces. But this really didn't take me too long because I had never had a false fit. It was really easy to see like which shape went where. So this section took me maybe 45 minutes, which I thought was going to be a lot longer, but there was not as many white pieces as I was expecting. But here is the final piece. I absolutely loved this image so much. I love the different gradients. It was really easy to do, and I 100% recommend this puzzle. We are back, and I just wanted to discuss these puzzles with you, compare them a little bit, see their differences. Is it worth the extra money to go through the small batch line, or if either one would work? First off, let's talk pieces. I liked both of them. They both had a nice, mostly matte piece. The original line does have a little bit more of a shine to it, but I feel like it's more like a satin finish, not 100% matte, but not glossy. So I did enjoy both pieces. They both had that linen-y texture. As far as the piece shapes, I do prefer the small batch line more, just because I feel like there's a little bit more variety. They're both on a random cut scale, but I still feel like 90% of the original line is 2s. So when I got down to me sorting out by piece shape, I had 2 trays of just 2s and like maybe 6 pieces that were different shapes. So for this one here, it just didn't have a huge variety, but it still had enough. I didn't get stuck or anything, but it's just something to mention because this one here, there was a good variety and I feel like an equal amount of 2s to other pieces. As far as the rest of the piece quality, the original one is actually thicker as far as I can see, and both were great as far as fit goes. I do think that the original line has a little bit better of a fit. I could move like a whole section at once without it breaking apart, where this small batch line, I can maybe move like 4 to 5 pieces before it crumbles. The small batch line is definitely more crumbly than the original line, but both were fine. I never had a false fit, and I really did enjoy putting these puzzles together. As far as the extra goodies inside, both do come with a poster. This one here comes in a plastic bag, this one comes with a paper bag, and this one does, of course, also have the postcard. Both lines had their successes and their faults. I like the images of both. I like the pieces of both. I think that the small batch line is a little bit more on the crumbly side, but the original line I wish had a little bit more variety in the piece shapes. So both of them do have room for improvement, but if you're trying to decide whether or not it is worth the extra money, I think you are perfectly fine going with the original line. I had a great time with this puzzle. I do feel like they redeemed themselves with these puzzles because I was like on the fence with Cloudberries before, to be honest. I didn't quite trust their quality because I've had very different experiences. This time around, I had great experiences and I really enjoyed them. Definitely a brand I'm considering getting more of. I do think if they were on sale, I'd definitely get more of the original line. And if I really, really loved an image, I would still consider this line here, especially if I was thinking about using it for a video or something. I could see me buying more, but I do think I'll be a little bit more picky of which designs I'm going to be buying, because these ones are definitely an investment, you know? So those are my thoughts on these puzzles. I'd love to know your experiences down below. So if you have done either of these styles, let me know. I'd love to know whether you had great experiences or not. Please be 100% honest down in the comments. It just helps everyone else when they are deciding which puzzles to buy. So thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.